The guy called Tom was filming from the car in front for the live stream. He started waving at me, so I went. And then Scott, who I was cycling with, he started waving, and then I went, Scott, I think we were just on the news then. And then at the end of the news bulletin, they gave us we did like a two-way. And then people were beeping as we were going past. It's so weird.
That's so weird.
It's such a weird life moment that I'll never get over or forget about.
Welcome to Before the Lights. If you're new here, we're a team of health professionals based in London who train people from all over the creative world to get ready for TV, film, even live shows, but most importantly, for everyday life. I'm Dave Hasty.
I'm George Ashwell.
I'm Georgia Canavan.
And I'm Josh Betteridge.
We've been lucky enough to build a pretty special group of members here at the club, so we thought it would be nice for other people to get to know some of them as well as we do.
I was like, I think I need to start going to the gym. So I literally got out my laptop, and was like, PTs for actors.
Welcome to Before the Lights podcast, guys. I'm Greg James. With me over here is Dangerous Dave, and here is Evil George. And today we're talking grind set.
Grind set.
It's not about mindset, guys. It's about grind set.
It was the very first time I met you when you came in and you actually had to run off and be sick in the toilet.
You feel quite vulnerable when you're kind of lying on your back with your legs up in the air because you feel sick. Just breathing, and I'm like, this never happens. I'm so sorry.
So sit back, only do some exercise if you want to, and maybe even learn something about how to look after yourself. Welcome back to the Before the Lights podcast.
Welcome back.
George is with me today.
I am here, yes.
Today is it's a very different day today.
Very different day.
Very different day indeed. This is a special episode, which is a fusion of worlds, I'm going to say. It
Please.
brings together celebrity, it brings together exercise, and it brings together cycling.
You could have said charity.
Yeah,
you could have
charity.
said lots of other things.
It brings together.
In the name of charity.
And
yes.
can I also add, it brings together the nation.
It really did bring that, and I wrote this down because last time I introduced you as a national broadcasting legend,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this time we're going to have to promote you to national treasure.
Yeah,
Correct.
I think, and maybe hero,
Yeah.
cycling hero, broadcast hero,
Global
charity
hero,
hero,
national treasure, local enthusiast.
For anyone that's been living under a rock for the past few weeks, we're talking to Greg James, who recently completed a 1,000-kilometre or 1,000-mile.
1,000 kilometres, 630 miles.
He cycled the whole of the UK on a tandem in aid of comic relief.
Mm.
And we're very pleased to be able to do a special podcast all about it to raise more awareness and to talk about the amazing things he's done.
I'm very happy to be here to talk about it.
It is.
You
kind of
you
mad.
lot have been a huge part of it, and it's very nice to be back to talk about the behind the scenes of it, because there was a lot of work went into it from everybody on that challenge, and it is a huge team effort. And because of that, I felt the pressure to be fit enough to be able to attempt to do it.
When did you first find out about it? Because we spoke about it the end of, it would have been November last year maybe?
We put it together. I wanted to do it, so I wanted to do another one at some point, because I did one in 2016, one in 2018, and then I've done nothing for 8 years. I have not given a pound to charity since.
I mean, if you
That's
do,
not
if
true.
you,
That
if
is
you
not
only
true.
ever do it in the millions, then
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
acceptable.
I give to charity loads, but no, that's clearly a joke. For those who don't know me, that was a joke. But I hadn't done one of these big challenges, and on Radio 1 there's a history of these big things, and it falls on a presenter every year to do a daft challenge to raise some money, raise some awareness of the cause and the charities that Comic Relief and Red Nose Day support. And I'd really, they're very, very difficult to do, and they take a lot out of you, and you have to really be ready and have an idea and have a reason, and you can't go into anything like this, or anything in life really, half-assed.
Yeah, totally.
And I wanted to wait until there was an idea, until I was physically ready, mentally ready, and also had something to say. And that was, and I felt like I had an idea for what this could be about. And I guess because I was going to do it last year, but
Oh, really?
I wasn't I didn't have any of those things. I didn't have the idea. I didn't have the any of it, and it needed to be funny as well. So it must have been, I think it was probably late summer last year, early autumn, when they asked me again, and I said, "Okay, let's talk about it. Let's sit in the room and come up with an idea."
Yeah.
And eventually, all of us came together with this idea of bike. I always wanted it to be as much of the country as possible. And I thought, how could it be madder than the last one that I did? Longest, distance, duration, stupid bike. All these ideas were floating around. And then we landed on, I think,
Stupid bike.
someone in the breakfast team just went, what about 1,000 kilometres?
Yeah.
I went, okay, what does that look like? Because I think there was an idea that I wanted to do John O'Groats to Land's End or something. But you couldn't do that, and it would take 10 days, and would people lose interest? It's a real fine balance with that sort of thing. And so that ended up being England to Scotland. And I thought, can we do Cornwall? Where's special to me? Weymouth is a place that I've spent a lot of my childhood. A lot of my family are from Weymouth. So we started in Weymouth and then went to Edinburgh because I wanted to do England, Wales, and Scotland.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
I was saying, we trained earlier, I was saying in the gym, whilst I was just wasting all the good questions of this podcast, of which I've now...
I had to keep shutting
No,
Dave up.
I've forgotten most of them.
Yeah.
But this one I haven't forgotten. It was, the route itself was a good route because you got to actually see... There's obviously different ways that you can do that journey because it's 1,000 kilometres, but you actually got to see and take in a lot of the different parts of the country.
Yeah.
Because the point was you get such a unique perspective of Britain by doing that, don't you?
Well, the whole point really was to bring people together and to do a challenge which was think about others. And that's a very basic sort of premise, but it's a useful thing to remind us all of, and I include myself in that, because we do get very self-centered with our lives and our jobs and our own little bit of, the world. And it's really nice sometimes to look outward and just to go, all right, even if I'm having a bad time, there's someone worse off than me. So the whole point of the challenge was to cover as much of the country as possible. That's what Radio 1 does anyway. It's a national station. So the whole point was to go past the listeners and for the listeners to be in the morning listening to the radio being like, oh,
There he is.
Worksop. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that road. Oh, that's the school that my son's friend goes to, or whatever it might be. And so the idea was to go where the people are living. It sounds stupid, but that was
that one of the best bits of it then, to actually see how many people
the
turned
best
out?
bit of it.
Like, that would be amazing.
I mean,
yeah.
aside from obviously the money raised, like the best bit of it was just seeing how much people enjoyed watching a long man on a long bike.
But that's
There's just
the
so
thing.
many. I mean, honestly, I look back on it and I just, yes, that it was painful and really hard, and I was completely knackered and all of those things, but it was worth every pedal because there was so much joy on every corner. People smiling, banging pots and pans.
Yeah.
Primary schools just out on the side of the road cheering. They'd all done signs and they were holding up tandem things, and it was amazing.
Like, you remember being that age at school and whatever those things are that are going on,
Yeah.
and being part of it is really fun, isn't it?
I mean,
at that age,
comic
actually?
relief growing up was the thing that you look forward to. Like,
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
hear like it was happening, and I think you said it earlier, but the silly or the funny is such an important part of that.
Yeah.
Because it can't just be hard. It's comic relief. You can't just do a really hard thing.
That's true.
Because it's got to be funny. The whole point in comic relief is funny. I saw a
Yeah.
horse with a red nose
Right.
watching you.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
Horse with the Red Nose is great. And I think that was, where was that? I think that was just as we were coming out of Wales. There was a horse with a red nose. I thought, oh, people are into this.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Up
Even
until
the
that
horse.
point, you thought no one was watching.
yeah.
Did it, like, every morning they did a kind of tally of where you got to in terms of fundraising? Does that make, because like the end total is staggering, because it's 4,603,178 as things stand.
Yeah.
Which is wild, isn't
It's
it?
mad, yeah. It is mad, actually.
What are you going to do with all that money?
I've bought the gym.
Okay, great.
Sorry, guys.
That,
You're all
that
sacked.
works. That works well for us.
You're all
Yeah, yeah.
sacked. I'm going to sell it for flats. Oh my God, of course it does. 'Cause
Like, so
that's-
you must wake up heavy legs. Well, we spoke about this during the training, and we'll come on to that bit of it. But like, I remember telling you certain things. You were doing like certain difficult exercises. Like, these things are almost like a mental training challenge as well,
Yeah.
because there will be days where you wake up and your legs are just, you don't want to do it. Like, and you know you got to, and it's going to feel really hard. But yeah, there's that moment of them going, it's 1 million, it's 2 million, whatever it was. Is that like
my
a real
God.
burst of energy?
I remember feeling quite down Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because we started on Friday. And usually these things are 5 days, but this one was 8 because I wanted to see what could you do in 8 days further, harder, all that kind of stuff. And would people stay with it? That was the big worry. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no totals were given. They didn't do any totals. They just decided amongst themselves to not do that on air yet. I think part of that was you don't want to go too heavy too soon on begging for money too soon.
And also, if it's like £1 million after a day, people might go, well, they don't need any more money then.
Well, yeah. Also, I think you've just got to trust, be patient with stuff, and you want people to enjoy the thing more than anything. And if they donate, brilliant. If they don't donate, then at least they've found out about Comic Relief, or they found out about a charity, or just had a nice time. So I think the first 3 days I found very, very difficult because I was trying to get into the rhythm of it. I'd never done that before, obviously, and
The weather was
quite bad. I was excited. I was nervous. I'd actually been ill the day before we started.
I felt really bad because I didn't tell you this, and I don't think it was, but my son had been ill, and then I had felt a little bit under the weather.
Do you have a dicky tummy?
Yeah, and I saw you, and then there's a WhatsApp
Shouldn't
group.
say this, Dave.
There's a WhatsApp group.
It was you.
It was me and all the other people that had organised.
Dave.
I don't think it was. It was a different thing. I don't think
it was. Was it the shits?
No.
Okay.
He was throwing up, and I never got that ill.
Right.
But Greg texts this group going like, I'm not feeling great. And
was
I immediately
really-
said to Emily, I was like, oh, fuck. I might
was
have
really
ruined-
bad.
I might have ruined the whole thing.
I had to get the latest train I could to Weymouth because I just had to sleep on the Thursday because I was just.
I mean, I did
Out
spend
of
the
it.
whole day sleeping, so maybe it was me.
And it maybe was you, but I mean, look, these things happen, and that was one of the
But
things.
you couldn't carb load, is what you're
I
saying.
couldn't carb load.
Yeah, which sucks.
So that first
At
day in
first day.
Weymouth, I was really struggling towards the end of that day, heading to Bristol. I remember feeling really, really, really terrible. So that first 3 days were bad, and then they weren't giving me any donation updates. So I was just on the bike with my thoughts, just thinking, "Oh my God, we've made £5. This is what
And
a
it was my
waste!
£5.
What a waste of time this has
Yeah.
been for everyone." And then there's a video you can see. Obviously, when the totals started coming in, I was like, okay, that's amazing, because it was already nearly 200 grand on day 4 or 3. Then it jumped up to 1 million, and then I remember exactly where we were, just coming out of Sunderland on day 5, and we were going up a hill, and they announced that it was 2.2 million, and I got off the bike, and I hadn't realised how stressed I was about the whole thing. I felt the pressure of Comic Relief and the BBC and all the shows and and the news and the One Show and the don't fuck this up type thing, and don't get injured and don't be sick and don't shit yourself, whatever it might be, and
I mean,
all
if you
those
shit
things.
yourself, you could have carried on. It would have been more funny.
And there's a moment where I jump off the bike at some traffic lights in Sunderland and just start shouting like, yes, 2.2 million. There were some dogs on the side of the road, and I just went and shouted at these dogs. I went, 2.2 million! But I hadn't realised how stressed I was about the whole thing, because I've been holding all this in.
Yeah.
Trying to be like, hey, everything's fine, I'm on a tandem. But that was a real lift, a real boost.
Yeah, amazing. Were there moments like that then throughout where obviously you've got like the support of the people and the fundraising and elements like that, but was there bits where you kind of had to dig in and think like, I know, because obviously going up those big hills and riding up, there's some serious like hills that you were tackling, and often with someone on the bike, which I imagine makes it actually a bit harder than easier. Were there moments when you had to kind of like sit back and think, right, I know I can do it because I've put this work into previously?
Yeah.
Because like, to give it some context, in the gym you train quite regularly anyway, but we really shifted what the focus of the training was, so it became much more about endurance and doing they are a little bit boring, the exercises, but doing more of them over longer periods of time and subjecting your legs and your core to that feeling, and partly just getting you used to that sensation of having to kind of grind things out a little.
And doing it with tired legs as well.
Yeah, because you'd started doing a lot of riding. Obviously, you get in the program.
So that was it, really, back-to-back rides. and then back-to-back gyms and all of that. But it was really interesting. It was hard, and I was knackered for ages. And balancing work and life and all of that was...
Because you were still
wasn't
having
easy,
to be
but-
on air as well. Not having
Yeah.
to be on air, but you...
But that was part of the challenge.
yeah.
This is it. This is why I signed up for it. So there's no... I can't sit here being like, oh, woe is me. I found it really difficult, but that was supposed to be difficult.
Yeah.
But all of that paid off when I was on those hills, as you were saying. But that... I had those thoughts 10 times a day
Yeah.
of like, I don't want to do this, but I know
I could just
that my
imagine,
body
like,
can.
going into a headwind on a tandem
Like, oh my
Up
God.
up a hill.
But I thought about all the sessions, and I thought about all the back-to-back rides, and I took my old terrible road bike out to the hills and just did some really punishing long rides on a terrible bike. Because
Yeah.
I thought, well, I couldn't take the tandem out of town because it's ridiculous. It's so massive. What train could I put that on? Excuse me, can I just pop the tandem in the vestibule? No, that's not going to happen. So I took my terrible old road bike out of town and just loads of hills on this rickety old thing, which I actually love because it really served me well, but it's not a proper bike.
Yeah.
And that was hard. And so the challenge was hard, but I was like, I did that, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I just was grinding it out. It was great. I didn't think I'd be able to do it like that. And I watched the videos back, and I don't quite recognise that person.
Did you think that Prince William would spend so long looking at your backside? Of things you didn't think would
know.
happen?
There's so many stupid things that I didn't think would happen. But that was it. It was it's supposed to be a show, isn't it? Really, like it's supposed to be it's a performance in a weird way where you want people to be like, oh my God, Prince William, or the Red Arrows, or
I love
Geraint Thomas. I mean, for God's sake, a Tour de France winner on the back.
But your reactions to all those things are always so great because you don't do the, oh wow, this is amazing, I'm so grateful. You kind of say, you're a broadcaster, you're an entertainer, you say the funny thing, like when I don't know his name, very rich billionaire Scottish man said that he'd match everything afterwards.
Oh
And you were
yeah,
like,
Tom Hunter.
rinse that man for all of his money. and I think when you saw Prince William, you were like, what are you doing here?
Well,
Like, why are you here?
That's how I felt.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's brilliant.
I felt very. I mean, I guess I felt very myself for the whole 8 days, and I was honest with everyone about everything, good stuff and bad stuff. And I suppose it just got to a point where it was all so absurd. Yeah. I was like, okay, the Red Arrow's just flown over. That's Tuesday, and we were just. And what was so funny about that for me was that we were in the car park of a Holiday Inn in Doncaster. No shade to Holiday Inn or Doncaster, but I don't know how many flybys they've had for the Red Arrows.
Probably none.
Yeah.
In a car park, and I was standing next to Geraint Thomas.
We enjoyed watching it. We had it on in our kind of cafe workspace.
Yeah.
Not a lot of work was getting done. So
No,
there's
it's
a lot of
just
people
yeah.
sitting there on the laptops, but just watching you. Kind of, it's almost like you're not really watching anything because it was so many. We had you on for like
But
10
there
hours a day
there
or
wasn't
something.
major fluctuations in your mood, your face. You
No.
were just kind of just pedaling along.
I was in such a zone.
smiling and waving at people.
I
That
was
was
in
like
such a weird
but
zone.
every time I came in, you'd be smiling and waving
it
at
was
someone
weirdly like it made you want to watch more of it. It was one of those things. There's certain things that are on telly. Cricket's a bit like that, isn't it? Where nothing's actually happening
Yeah.
really, but you sort of just sit there like, I
Yeah.
really like watching this.
Well, maybe it's calming,
else. Yeah.
but also that was also part of the challenge, which was how much do I love, cycling? How much do I love the listeners? Because I always wang on about how much I love the listeners. Well, do I? If they're on every
Yeah.
corner when I'm absolutely fucked. The worst but funniest bit was people going, only 3 more hills to go, Greg.
Oh god.
Like, don't tell me
Shut the
this.
fuck up.
Yeah.
But that's a real test of like,
Yeah.
do you actually like people? And I do.
Yeah.
And like if the mask was going to slip, it would have slipped. Like, that's what I feel. Like I didn't really have any hissy fits, I don't think, apart from after this podcast when I found out that Dave gave me the shits.
Yeah.
Still up for debate that.
Well, unprovable.
It's probably
But,
quite likely, but not proven. Yeah.
And the other thing was that I always wang on about how much I love doing radio. Well, if I'm mic'd up for the whole time, how much do you like radio now, radio boy? and I really did enjoy that, but that was really hard as well to make sure that I was doing the thing, communicating all the things I wanted to talk about, doing the various bits on the news or the One Show or whatever else. And that was also part of the challenge, which was can you tell this story while the story's happening?
Can you jump off the bike after the end of the day and go sit in a studio and do a half an hour
Yeah,
link
yeah.
to something else?
But of course I could,
Yeah.
because there was a load of amazing people at the finish line, and that just spurred me on. And I went, Jesus, this is ridiculous that people have actually they
That
bother
would
about
be
this.
like, it is one of those things, like if you've ever done a half marathon or anything like that, and you get to the end and friends and whoever are there, and it is
It's
part
lovely.
of the whole fun of the whole
It's a
thing.
lovely
is
feeling.
doing that.
That's why
Yeah.
you do it. Yeah.
But it's people. But again, it's just people being brought together over a thing, and I really love that I've sort of found a role on the radio and in that challenge, which was sort of being a ringleader and being like, da-da, the red arrows, and ba-ba, here's the future king, and I think that's really exciting. And I did the thing that kept me going a lot through the hills and whatever else was just thinking, I will never do this again. This scenario will never happen again. So
I don't think anyone will.
I have to enjoy this. Like, try and find something enjoyable. And even if the only thing that's enjoyable about it is, this is amazing thing, I will never get to do this again. That's why I wanted to give it everything.
Yeah.
And I did. I gave it absolutely everything I had.
What's going to happen, speaking of never doing it again, what's going to happen to the bike?
The
Because
bike
that's
is
not, you haven't kept that, doesn't live in your back garden.
The bike is currently in a museum in Derby, and people have been texting into the radio saying that they've been visiting it over the Easter holidays. So
Taking
kids
it a little chocolate
kids have
egg.
been going there, like having a photo next to it, which is really sweet. And one of my Lycra outfits is also hanging up there.
Was it washed?
I think it is
Is
washed.
it your Batman?
Was it the one where you shat yourself?
To be clear, I didn't shit myself on the tandem. That be known.
Off the tandem though.
Before
No.
the tandem.
I was incredibly backed up the whole time. You must know. This unbelievable discomfort with my body was just.
Yeah,
at the
what
end
did
of
you
each-
feel like by the end? Like once you stopped cycling? Because
I mean,
once you're doing those
absolutely-
things,
absolutely broken.
yeah.
Of my whole body was going, what are you doing? Stop doing this.
Because
to
it gets
me.
to a point where your body actually accepts what's happening, and then when you return to normal and you're not doing that thing that you've been doing for 8 days straight,
Yeah.
that almost becomes another shock to the system, doesn't it?
It was
Whereas-
really weird actually coming. I mean, I still feel a bit spaced out by it, and I have flashbacks of, oh my God, I'm on the bike still.
Yeah.
But my body, sort of my digestive system was just
Because
all
that
over
is one of the
place.
things, you have to change the way you eat so much. So like, for anyone that's not done like a endurance event, it's food becomes specifically fuel in that
Yeah.
instance, and it's not necessarily like eating the same meals that you would have eaten as normal, especially when
Fiber's
you've
your
got.
worst nightmare. Like anything that involves effort for your stomach, it needs to be very easy
Yeah,
because most of your blood's in your extremities, just doing what it needs to do. So you need
a lot of white carbs,
a lot of white carbs.
crumpets,
Yeah, was
Beans
that
on
the
What do you go
toast.
for?
Yeah.
What's on top of your crumpet?
Marmite cheese,
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a
good.
good combination.
and that was at some of my pit stops. They would have Marmite.
I did like that on the broadcast. It's like
Yeah.
Greg's having a break, and you just got like a blue screen.
Yeah, it was
like
me just
old school
having
TV
crumpets.
time.
Stuffing crumpets down.
Yeah, but it was a very strange situation to be in because your body is just doing stuff that you're not used to it doing
Mhm.
and feeling.
Do you know roughly how many calories you were taking on board each day?
I don't know how many I was taking on. I lost sort of count, but the little Garmin on my handlebar said that I've been burning 6,500 a day.
So I was going to say, when the guys do like when your mate Geraint was doing the
Yeah.
Tour de France, those guys are doing like, they're eating like 7,000 or 8,000 calories a day, I think.
Yeah,
not more.
Crazy.
it was about that, and then just drinking loads and carb drinks and just. But I was never once hungry, which I'm also really pleased.
Well,
with.
it's like when you get to the point of feeling hungry, it's almost a bit
You've always
too
gone
late.
too
Too
far.
late.
Yeah.
Because when you're just constantly
Yeah.
going, you need to have the energy.
As I said, I've actually found the whole thing really interesting, and
Mhm.
what your body can do and your brain if you really train it, look after it. Because I did look after it, and I did think, I was talking to people about it, and I was.
we
I
had
was-
as part of a team, like we were brought in as part of a team of people. So it's,
Yeah,
I would find that really interesting to then have access to people that are sort of elite sports people and
Yeah.
nutritional experts.
Well, there was
and
a
all that
brilliant-
kind of stuff.
a brilliant cycle coach who was sort of. I mean, mainly I met her once before we started, She's called Lucy Buckingham, and she is an Olympian. She competed in the Olympics and is a triathlete, and she was just really good. Sort of just I was just on WhatsApp with her doing the training, and she put together a really good program of stuff. And then actually she was brilliant on day 2. She was at home watching the live stream, and she messaged me during one of the pit stops and said, just checked your cadence on a couple of the hills, drop down a couple of gears, try that out. Like she was at home with a stopwatch going click, 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 cadence, and she noticed that I was actually over.
So were you like, you were grinding it out a bit too much, were you? Or
I was
too low
going
gear,
too
going
quickly.
too fast.
I was going too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, just switch it up a couple of gears.
Well, that's the thing with those. Well, it's such a skill, isn't it? And knowing how to manipulate those little bits on a bike.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car. What gear are you going around the corner in?
Yeah, it was just so
determines how fast you're
interesting
going.
and so useful, because actually that's a confidence thing, because I was unconfident on that tandem for the first couple of days because I hadn't done full days on it before, and so I didn't know what I could do and what it could do, and so I was just erring on the side of caution, just spinning my legs really quickly to get up a hill. But actually I just took my time and actually made it a lot easier.
Talking about like how you felt as you got off, one thing which I think is quite an inspired choice is when you did an interview in the bath.
Oh yeah.
You're on Good
I
Morning.
saw there was like a
whatever.
photo of you, just your
Morning.
head poking out the bubbles.
Okay, so here's good behind the scenes. And this was my one.
Didn't you have a glass of wine as well? And it was like
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning.
This was my
Love that.
one slight kickoff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a very, very, very slight, and I think I'd earned it, right? So I said to Comic Relief and Radio 1, obviously, push me in any direction you want, any microphone, any publication, student TV, radio, local, literally anything. I'll be so happy to talk to everyone about this thing, because I just want it to be talked about, and I want it to raise as much money as possible. And so I did every single possible thing, and I really enjoyed all of it. As it is fun to talk about these things. As I said, I'll never do it again. We'd finished in Edinburgh on the Friday morning, Murrayfield, did the show, did loads of press stuff up there, videos, whatever else. And then the deal was that I would then go to Salford,
Yeah.
and my best mate drove me from Edinburgh to Salford, back down the roads I'd just cycled on, which was like a few hours earlier. I was so dazed. And I was going to go and do the night of TV, the Red Nose Day night of TV, because Davina McCall was going to announce the final total, and they were going to play a little video, and they were going to talk about the charities that the money was going to go to. And I was like, that will be an amazing sort of
Nice
closer.
way to end it.
And then they said, oh, and would you stay over in Salford for one more night and then do BBC Breakfast live on the sofa? And I went, I love BBC Breakfast.
At like 6 a.m.
But I'm fucked. I'm so tired. Please, I just want to go home. I just need my bed. I just want to go to my bed.
Yeah.
Can I do it on video? Can I do it on Zoom? And they went, oh, I don't know. We've promised BBC Breakfast. I went, please. I went, and this was my one kickoff. I went, we've just raised 4.5 million. I think people have heard about it. I think people have got the message. They're gonna be sick of me. And so they said, okay, you can do it in video. And I went, I promise I'll make it fun. So I woke up early, ran a bath, and then sat in there talking to Naga and Ben.
I bet they loved it.
And I think it was fine. It was fine.
Was there-
I was like,
was
it's
there a
fine. It's on
moment-
video. It's fine.
Is there a moment when you're about to be put on national news where you've got to speak to the kind of like behind the scenes tech people, and they're just like set you up and you're just in the bath?
Did you use your phone?
Here's another thing. Here's another
Do
mad
they come
thing
round your house
that
to
I
set up?
haven't talked about this. This is really weird. It was I think Thursday night. We'd just gone across the border into Scotland. Long day, really tough day. And we were maybe about 10 miles away from our final stop. And then in my ear, because I had an earpiece in the whole time to hear whatever output it was. So if it was a Radio 1 interview, I'd be listening to Radio 1. So at 5 o'clock on this Thursday evening, Radio 1, so I was chatting to Jack Saunders. Then it changed to 5 Live, so I was live with 5 Live at 5:30. And then suddenly, I could just hear the BBC 6 o'clock TV news. I'm like, that's weird. And I sort of shouted at someone and went, I can hear BBC One. I don't know what's going on there. No one said anything because we're in a quite remote area, and the radio car was there, and the TV car film was ahead. No one could really hear what I was saying. And then I heard the 6 o'clock headlines, and in fact, I've got it. Let me play it on my phone because this was so weird. Imagine you're just cycling.
Thinking you're done for
you're
a bit.
feeling absolutely insane anyway. You can barely string a sentence together. And we're heading into the final day the next day. And I just heard this in my ears in the middle of, we were next to a beautiful reservoir, dusk, night falling, cars everywhere, this.
A royal ramble as the king officially
So I'm just
opens
hearing
England's
this,
coast path. It's almost 2,700 miles long. And look who's going to join us live. It's Radio 1's Greg James.
Yeah, you had no idea.
He's just crossed into Scotland on his epic 1,000
Can you see you going,
tandem
are they talking
bike
to me?
ride for comic relief, and he is waving at us.
Right? So the only reason I'm waving,
You're going, can you...
so I heard, and Greg James is going to join us. And then the guy who's filming, the guy called Tom was filming from the car in front for the live stream. He started waving at me. So I went... And then Scott, who I was cycling with, he started waving. And then I went, Scott, I think we were just on the news then. And then at the end of the news bulletin, they gave us we did like a two-way. So and then people were beeping as we were going past. It's so weird.
That's so weird.
It's such a weird life moment that I'll never get over or forget about. It was an unforgettable adventure, never to be repeated, and that's okay. If that is the biggest, best thing that I ever do, I'll be completely fine
It's
with
a
that.
pretty good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've not done badly there. Not done badly at all. Well, thank you. Feels like a nice way to wrap it up
Yeah.
there, doesn't it? Thank you very
It
much
really
for
is.
coming and doing this, and
Pleasure.
hopefully getting a bit more awareness of the great things that Comic Relief do and the charities that all that money goes to help.
Yeah.
And just dispelling the myth that it is all money that you will keep. And
And buy a gym with.
God,
Yeah.
that's definitely not happening.
But also, I hope there's a lot of takeaways for people about, well, resilience and sort of going through, stuff, but also able to achieve things that you didn't think you'd be able to, but also getting your body ready for something and changing your body or your mind. I found that
Yeah.
so interesting. And
It's
so
what-
a huge
it's-
thank you to you
It's
too.
the
and
question that you're
You're more than
asking
welcome.
of your body, I think, is the thing. It's like, that was a thing you'd never said to it. Can you do this?
Yeah.
And it can. And that is true for multiple things, whether it's sport or work or life or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like posing those challenges and imposing that stress on yourself in terms of exercise, I think is a...
And also, it's not too
Really
late
good
to
way
try a
of
new
doing
thing
No.
and to change it, because 2 or 3 years ago, I would not have been in the right shape mentally or physically to do anything like that.
I mean, you said after the 2018 or whatever, your worst part was your upper back or something, because it would just killed you when you did it. Whereas in this consistency that you've had over the last 2 years, we didn't even focus on that, but you are a wholly stronger person.
Yeah.
And that wasn't an issue once when you did this challenge. And
No.
I think that's like a big thing about how, that consistency and that, like, it wasn't that you were training for this for 2 years. You've only been training for this for
Yeah.
the 3 months before, but you
Yeah.
found yourself in a much better position that you could actually enjoy what you're doing rather than battle yourself around it.
Yeah, it's very weird to say this now, but there was not a single moment where I thought that I physically couldn't do it.
Mm.
I just didn't have any doubt.
Mm.
It was really weird. I was like, oh, I can do this. As long as my brain was strong and I could just get my thoughts together
Your body was always
and
gonna
like
follow.
remember why it was all happening. But there was not a single moment of doubt. It was bizarre.
There you
And
go.
I'd had lots of doubt in the previous ones, but this one I thought, no, I can,
I'm gonna do this.
if I just like take this easy and like respect it, and I really respected the whole thing, I can do this. Yeah.
Amazing.
I actually thought I could have done another day.
Well,
Weird. That's the weird thing. I wouldn't have said that on the finish line.
No.
Because I was absolutely empty and done. But if someone had said,
You've actually
The
got to
day
go
before,
to,
there's
you've actually
another
got to go to
day.
St
Yeah,
Andrews,
yeah,
yeah.
I think by the time I got to the bit in the last 10 kilometres was actually the most difficult 10, because your brain's gone,
I'm done.
done here.
Yeah.
And then your legs go, oh, we're done. But if someone had said the day before, do you want to do another one? I probably could have gone
you could have
further.
squeezed a little bit more out of
Yeah.
there.
Back to Weymouth.
Yeah. You got to take the bike back.
Downhill.
Free will all the way down. Well, thanks
you,
again
Greg.
for doing this.
Thanks, guys.
And congratulations, well done.
love you both very much, and thank you. And
You too.
And let's.
I'm sorry
let's-
for making you shit yourself.
That is such a revelation.